Well, my name's Tanja Raaste, and that's originally a Finnish name. And I run the company, which is called Nordic Nomad Productions, which I started about 5 years ago now. It's first and foremost a theatrical production company. So what I do is I produce theatre, I produce shows, especially I have a special interest in new plays, new writing, and also in unusual locations. I kind of fell into this by writing a play just for fun, and kind of ended up with a play on my hands, and I thought, well, how hard can it be to produce it? So I then produced it, decided I really need to know a little bit more about this and this world, went over to LA, did a master's degree, and then came back and started my business. The obvious place for me to go after finishing my master's was to maybe apply into larger theatres and go in and maybe work as a marketing assistant, maybe in their press department. That's where often I think people want to be producers. But what I realised was that actually that wasn't really where my interest was. I have an interest in the kind of the extravagant outdoor spectacle. That was how I ended up thinking I'm just going to be an independent producer. Now, the reality didn't work like that, what with London being expensive and all the rest of it. So this is one of the things that I learned very early on, is that you have to be flexible and adaptable. And if something doesn't work the way you thought, well, then you have to look at, well, why isn't it working that way? And then reconfigure it. So what I thought was, okay, well, I've got some work as a freelancer, but not quite enough. So I ended up doing a part-time job. So I ended up working at the Criterion Theatre for a while. That worked very well for my hours. I could keep all my days free and work on this stuff, and then I could get a little bit of basic income from that as I was building up. So for me, it was actually very difficult to jump into this kind of freelancing world of I don't know where my next paycheck is coming from. And the payoff of that is the immense amount of freedom that you get. But then what you do give up is then you have to give up on the security side. You can't, at least at the beginning, you don't seem to be able to have both. I got asked to devise some workshops several years ago for a company called Prevista, and I put some things together, went along, taught them, and I realized that there was a massive, massive hunger for this kind of thing. I've started teaching business skills for artists, which are a series of workshops that I run, just teaching people how to market themselves, how to network, how to present themselves. Not that you just go in there and say you must network, 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 and you must, because that's what people hear all the time. What you really need is you want to go in there and say, you know what, you're already doing this. And let's look at all the skills you already have, whether they're as artists or performers and so on. And then you start building on those skills, and it becomes all of a sudden a thing of people realize, you know what, I can do this. I have been doing it. I just need to add a little bit of extra stuff. I need to get myself out there a little bit more. And when I kind of realized that there was this massive, in a way, gap in the market, and these kind of skills are really, really sought after, I then started pushing this a little bit more, only in the last 2 years, really.